Good morning. It's Pop again, Dennis Murray. Um, Today is Popcast number 27. It's called Wisdom, Atheism, and Faith. Yesterday we were talking about sacred matters, and we're going to continue that today. So I want to remind all of us that talking about the sacred can cause hate, anger, and but it appears we can't live together without talking about the sacred, because essentially we have to live from the sacred and we have to live together from the sacred. So we need to sort out the sacred, um, so that we can all be on the same page. And there's, in my opinion, all underneath everything else, and we all experience it. We all can come to trust that experience. And in so doing, we find we have a shared sacred. From all comes religion, wisdom, philosophy, ethics, morals. Uh, and it seems to me that awe is the basis of um, the sacred, and that we have to live together from it. So I'm very much interested in trying to show the reasonableness of doing that. And there are those people for whom awe is already accepted in their lives. They may have either accepted it as some experience that uh, seems to indicate that there's some kind of um, creative goodness at work in the universe, or they may have personalized that creative goodness into a God. Um, but there are those who are very much uncomfortable with anything that's subjective, personal, that isn't objective, and to me, that's where our basic divide comes from in today's world. It isn't so much that there's a struggle between believers and non-believers. Um, it's between those who uh, accept the subjective enough to trust the awe they feel inside them, and those who don't trust the awe, because it would be trusting something subjective, and they don't trust anything subjective. So I'm trying to, yesterday and today in particular, but in my whole podcast in general, get objective people comfortable with the wisdom of accepting the validity of the experience of all as good enough to live by, even though you can't prove it. Which means you have to get objective people to see that you can't live without starting from this thing that can't be proven. You can't make any sense of life. You don't find the energy and the direction that you need to live by, except by starting from this all. That is, objective people have to see that it's objectively reasonable, which is to say that it's wise under the circumstances to treat this all as something to be trusted enough to live by, even though it can't be proven. Now, I've said that a lot of different times, a lot of different ways in these podcasts, but I'm trying to focus more today on showing objective people that it is reasonable to accept this all, which, of course, most people um, who accept personify and call God. Uh, so yesterday's title was "It's Reasonable to Believe in God as a result of the experience of awe," and in my opinion, it is. But even deeper than that, an objective person doesn't have to agree to believe in God, to trust the all. He can see that the awe is an experience we all share that's deep in our psychology, really at the core of our evolved psychology. Um, and he can see that many people personified into God. He doesn't have to do so if he doesn't choose to do so. So long as he does see that our psychology is so established that we can't thrive as a species, we can't live together, which is the secret to our thriving, um, without hearing hearing the call this all gives us to use our gifts in and to live together. Um, and so he has to see the reasonableness of hearing the call and accepting it as a separate and distinct thing from deciding that what you're hearing is God talking to you. Um, and in the process of making this distinction between awe and the personification of it, I'm trying to make it possible for people who want to be as objective as possible to accept this starting piece of subjectivity, of something that can't be objectively proven, to see that it is reasonable to accept it enough to live by it, because we would, and the key to being able to do that, to make a convincing argument to people who want to be objective about accepting this wisdom, this awe, and the call to live together that comes from it. The key is all of us remembering that we could be mistaken, that even though the awe seems incredible and we can hardly dispute its reality and its existence, it is an intuition and can't be proven. So that means we could be mistaken, we could be wrong, we could be reading ourselves incorrectly, reading the universe we come from incorrectly. And when we keep that in our minds, we keep it alive in our hearts, then we both stay more in touch with the awe, which doesn't give us certainty, it doesn't give us knowledge. It's something, wisdom allows us to accept it, but we can't know what the experience is about. It's way, way, way beyond our capacities to have knowledge of what this awe is. All we can have is belief, and we can trust this thing which is in the center of ourselves. So when everyone remembers this uh, difference between a thing that we know and a thing that's wise to trust and live by, then it becomes more inviting to those who currently aren't willing to trust awe and to try and live from awe, to begin to do so and to heal the division. Um, and so more about that tomorrow, about the healing the division part, and especially on the side of people of faith, on what's involved in remembering that you could be mistaken about this, and why that's so important to moving towards the middle. Um, I do want to make that final point that wisdom allows us to trust ourselves. It allows us to trust this all well enough to live by it. Okay, thanks. See you tomorrow. Take care. Bye bye.